Hello everybody, it's me, Roku, back with some more content. Well, this content is less something for you to enjoy and get entertained by, and more so something to just for you to look at and for me to play while I talk about League of Legends. Now, the title will not come as a shock to anyone who's been watching my League videos as of late. I basically just play 1 to 2 matches of League, rage my brains out, and then go play something I genuinely enjoy playing, like Elden Ring or Helldivers 2 or some indie games or what have you. Anything that isn't League. And instead of just like sort of quitting silently, I suppose, I wanted to just organize all my thoughts on the game in this one package so that I can have some closure, I guess. I'm not really doing this to get any views. This is just for me, and also I feel like a lot of you guys have stuck with the channel, right? So I feel like I owe you guys at least an explanation as to what's gonna happen. So as like I'm just gonna talk about quickly what's gonna happen to the channel now, because I feel like practically it's the thing that you guys probably care about the most, right? Aside from my thoughts, right? So for the channel, I will no longer be making League of Legends videos at all. And in my daily life, I'll be trying my hardest to avoid interacting with League at every single point. I'm going to uninstall League so I don't have that spyware on my computer, Vanguard. It's not... dude, whatever, man. Like, if I'm going to be honest, just, like, before I get into the specifics, the main thing that made me quit the game was Vanguard. Vanguard is such a horrific decision to make, and it basically ruined my big PC, and now it's at the shop getting repaired, and it's like, I can't have that happen, right? I'm not gonna risk my productivity when it comes to other things in my life just to play a game that I absolutely hate, alright? So Vanguard was the straw that broke the camel's back. Now, I guess let's just get right into the things that I don't like. I have them written out in like this Google Doc. And no, I won't be editing this. I won't be structuring it. I'm just gonna ramble, right? I've put too much effort into League already just to, you know, like I don't want to try anymore when it comes to that game. I just want to say goodbye and have it be that. So first off, the major thing at the moment is time investment, right? Now, I'm not like a comedy League channel. I am more so an instructional, but mainly just commentary League channel. You guys watch the videos because, I don't know, you like the sound of my voice, you like the Darius gameplay, you want to watch a Darius content creator because, let's be real, there isn't a lot of them. And the ones that are there, they basically just stream. So anybody who wants YouTube videos to watch for Darius is just out of luck, unless you're gonna watch like SRO make the 1000th, you know, 5-stack build, OP, like, you know, the thumbnail, right? It's like, unless you're willing to watch that slop, then you're gonna watch this slop. But yeah, I'm not trying to throw shade on anyone. I'm actually gonna get to that part soon, but you know, you don't have a lot of options. So I get the sort of niche that I fill with this content, right? But to make these kinds of videos, I have to put in an insane amount of time into playing the game. And it's not even just, not just to make the videos, because let's be real, I don't spend a lot of time making the videos. All I do is just play the game, and I record myself playing the game. But to be able to play at like a master, grandmaster, whatever level, I have to put in a ton of hours into this game. Like, I can't just take a break for a week and then come back and, you know, bang out a video, because I'll be so rusty that I'm probably worse at the game than, like, you know, the people watching the video. I mean, not to throw shade at you guys, but let's just be real. You don't play this game as a job. It's a hobby, so, and you probably haven't played it as much as I have. So it's like, I can't just leave, go do the stuff I need to do in my life, which, you know, I have a lot of responsibilities now that I've, you know, graduated, and I need to go work a job now, which I love, right? But, yeah, So, because I will have projects that I need to specifically work on and take time out of my days to work on them, it just makes it unfeasible for me to remain at the level of play I need to remain in order to keep making these videos. Now, you might say, why don't I just upload one match? Or why don't I just try a different type of League content? Why this? Why that? And honestly, first off, the whole point of these videos is that they're long, right? The whole point is you play the video and then you phase out and you do something else. And the other thing is, like, it just takes too much time, man. Like, it's not that complicated. It takes way too much time. And it's like, when you're a college student or like a teenager going to school, you can sacrifice a solid 6, 7, 8 hours of your day. But I'm an adult. And I have, first off, to go work a full-time job. I have to do my adult things like, oh, take care of myself, wash this, do that. All that's taking so much time. So this game, at that level, is just not meant for adults with actual jobs or responsibilities. And not to mention, if you're playing that much League, you don't even have time to game and, like, enjoy other games, you know? Because, like, I love playing video games, alright? I play a ton. RimWorld, Bannerlord, Helldivers 2, and then I like to just take a few weekends sometimes to just run through games like Elden Ring or a CRPG like Baldur's Gate 3, something like that, right? Now, because I have to play League, it takes time, not out of my, like, just productivity time during the day, but also my gaming time. So I can't actually enjoy my time playing these other games I want to play because I'm stuck to League. It's not fun, it's annoying, and it's like just... At some point, I gotta just ask myself, why am I doing this if it's so unenjoyable? And I don't know, if I'm being honest. Maybe it's the money, right? Because this is my job, right? Maybe because you guys watch the videos, I feel like I owe it to you guys to keep making them, right? And I feel like that's more of a thing because I'm not really a person that cares too much about money, if I'm being honest. But, yeah. Whatever the reason may be, I think it's time for me to just blink it away and move on with my life. So, yeah. That's, like, the big part about time investment. It's like, if you're a League player, like, if your hobby is to play League, you don't have any other hobby, right? You don't have any other hobby. You don't have, like, some other game you like to play. If you're a League player, you are just a League player. And that gets worse and worse the more, like, the higher level you get into the game. And even as a casual player, right? It's like, if you're not spending all your time reading the patch notes, reading the updates, keeping up to date with all these new disgusting champions that they release, it's like you come back to the game after a few months, and it's completely different than what you're used to. And, like, they do this thing, Riot, where they just don't care at all about how it is to get back to this game after a while of not playing it, you know? So you can literally just have an unrecognizable experience with the game after leaving for, like, the shortest of whiles. So even for, like, a casual player, it's tough to, like, play League and have, like, a life outside of League, you know? So if you're, like, if you play League that much, it's only worth it if it's your job. Which it is for me in my case, but at this point, the mental cost is just too much for me, right? I don't want to just, like, you know, be stressed out, have headaches all the time, just not be able to sleep, have gray hairs, all this bull, just to be able to do this to myself, you know? And it's like, I'm not trying to complain, because I do realize that a lot of people would, you know, do a lot to be in my position of, oh, making these videos for money, oh, boo-hoo, right? But I get that. I should somewhat be thankful, but on the other end, it's like, whatever, man. I have the chance to get out, and I'm using the chance. It's not that complicated. So, yeah. A big part of why I dislike the game, if I'm being honest, is just Riot. How they do everything, alright? First off, Riot does not care about the community that plays this game on any level, alright? Let's just make that clear. Riot does not care about you. Riot doesn't care about its content creators at all, but especially its community, because first off, Riot never actually listens to their own community. There's so many like opportunities or occasions where Riot makes a mistake and we tell them, hey look, this isn't gonna pan out well, this is a mistake, and they just go ahead with a decision. And then, because they're so insanely slow to just respond to things, right? What happens is, every time they make a bad decision, that decision is gonna stay for a while. Which means that we have to essentially just sit there and suffer the decisions that they've made, knowing that they can fully just fix this before it even ruins anyone's like day or time, but they won't. Because that's just not how they operate. They're very slow when it comes to responding to issues, and it's like not just like issues in terms of like decisions or whatever, but also balance issues. Like at any point in the game, there's like a solid 10-15 champions that are game-breakingly overpowered, right? Like, and I don't just mean a champion that's broken, but they have a balance win rate. I mean, no, a champion that's broken, 55% win rate, everyone's picking them, like just like an absolute disaster of a balance situation. And instead of just like responding to it, they just let it be. And it's like the latest example I can think of is just Skarner, right? They're still doing these stupid little changes, let's buff up, nerf up his mana or whatever, when the main issue is a mechanical one. This champion mechanically is broken. So the only way to bring him in line is to just remove mechanics. Why can't he hold rocks? Why does his W have that much range? Why can't he walk through walls? And his ultimate, it's like they position it as if the ultimate is difficult to land, right? Like they buff around, oh, shorter cast time, and oh, like the way they treat it is like, oh, Skarner is a melee champion, so this ability must be hard to land. But when you put it into context with the fact that this champion can slow anyone, can run through walls, so you can completely just flank an entire backline, and the ultimate is unstoppable, and it cleanses him of CC when he casts it, it basically means that unless the enemy backliners have flash, his ultimate will land every single time. So it's like, the only way you make this champion balanced and possible to play against is just removing mechanics. Maybe not all the annoying things, just remove one of them at least. Make it so that he isn't that bad of a laner. Make it so he can't hold his cube, right? Anything. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to do these tiny stupid changes, and it's going to be this way for like half a year. Just tearing up solo queue as top lane jungle, 40% ban rate, and then they're going to remove the mechanics, right? Like, we just saw, like, the same exact thing happened with Zeri, where Zeri was just this disgusting abomination because the main sort of fantasy they pushed with Zeri was just incompatible with how the game works, right? Like, the main idea of, oh, you're so fast and you have these long-range auto attacks, that breaks the game. That breaks the game. And it took them all this time to just nerf it into a position, and now that fantasy doesn't exist. Zeri can't do that because the fundamental idea behind the character was just terrible. It was never going to work, and it took them this long, this many reworks, this many changes to realize it. And I bring up these specific examples, but it's this way every single time they do something wrong. Like, they put things into the game that just suck. Mythic items. Why did they put that into the game? And the way they communicate with the community, right, is so condescending. They write these blog posts where, by the way, almost all the data that they use in those blog posts are like super cherry-picked and like manipulated. They will take data that doesn't really have anything to do with the point they're making just to have it said there's a graph there to fool people. Like a few seasons ago or whenever, when they were talking about mythic items after they added them, they were like, oh, mythic items are a success because they've promoted build diversity. And anybody with a brain could tell you that the moment the mythics got added to the game was like the least diverse in terms of builds. Because the game was just, oh, here's this broken item. The best champions are whoever can abuse this broken, overpowered item. And then that goes into the problem of them not addressing problems quickly enough. So what happens, every time an item is broken, they nerf every champion that uses that item so that they become quote-unquote balanced. But the item is the problem. So then they, like 6 months, half a year, entire year later, they fix the item by nerfing it, removing mechanics, and now all the champions that were just balanced for that item are in the gutter. And now you just ruin the gameplay of all these characters for no reason because of your incompetence. And it's like, every time, man. Every time. They have this insanely condescending way that they interact with the community too. It's like they did this Vanguard thing, and the way they talk about, so Vanguard just bricks people's PCs and ruins them, right? It did it to mine, and they were like, oh, it's our fault for now realizing your computers were incompatible with Vanguard. Even though Vanguard doesn't even check if it's compatible and just straight up installs itself onto your system without a care in the world. It's like dealing with someone who's like a narcissist, man. And like, that's just like, is everyone in Riot like a narcissist or something? Because they're never like, oh, we messed up, we're gonna change how we think about the game. No, it's like they make this specific type of mistake over and over. You get half the community telling them, this is a mistake, stop. And they just keep going on with it, they ruin things, and then we're just left to like suffer, essentially, right? It's our time that was wasted. It's our attention that was wasted. And it's just that over and over and over again. And there's like no repercussions, no retribution, nothing. It's just like, that's it. You know? Like, you really have to be a person who does nothing but play League. Because this is essentially just like an abusive like spouse who just keeps beating you. And you're like, you keep coming back for some asinine reason, you know? You don't play any other games, you put so much money into League, you do all this, might as well keep playing it. And to anybody that's like a whale with the game, all the money you've spent on League is gone. Your account means nothing, okay? One of these days, once you get banned, once you get tired of League, it's all gone. And let's be real, the skins aren't even that good anymore, alright? Because here's what they do with every skin. They overdevelop the skins when it comes to all these special effects and etc. Even though, like, the main problem, or the main thing that makes a skin good, is the initial idea, right? If a skin is a good idea, it will do well. But what they do with all the skins is they essentially just come up with a skin line, and then they just force champions into them that make no sense. Right? High Noon Urgot. What the, like, what? And it's like such a trash fire skin too. And like, they just force champions into skin lines that don't make sense just to fill out the spreadsheet of like, oh, this champion got a skin, this one didn't. But like, if you just put the champions in skin lines that made sense for them, then it's actually good, because then it's a cool skin for that champion. So every skin feels less like, oh, someone carefully thought to make something that looks cool, and it's more so just, oh, this is slop that Riot wants me to pay for, right? And that's every skin, man. It's like, the hilarious part is, it wouldn't even take more manpower to be more original with the skins, you know? Because, okay, so you gotta draw the picture, right? The splash art. You gotta make the model. You gotta do the effects. But they have the team to do all those effects. It's the same team doing all that for all these different skins. Why not just make different skins for different champions? But it's like, they're not gonna do that, because that would take more effort and creativity, which they're not willing to give to this game. So, yeah. God. everything new that they add to the game just sucks so much, man. The worst thing I think is just the straight champions. The new champions they add, and by the way, I am afraid, not afraid, I guess, because I don't play the game anymore, right? I quit. But it's gonna be hilarious to see what this new champion is capable of, right? 3-hit, you know, 3 passives, dashes, invisibility, can cross walls, has insane range. Like, I think at this point, there's just not... What else can you add to League, you know? Well, how can you add a new champion that's, like, healthy for the game? And the problem is, you can't. So what they end up doing is, with every new champion, they just break the game, right? Every new champion, it's either a champion that's perfectly normal, and they have a game-breaking mechanic, or the game-breaking mechanic is just their identity, right? So, like, Sean, right? Perfectly normal champion. Perfectly normal champion. And I think Akshan is one of the better champions they've designed lately, okay? This is my opinion. My pigeons, whatever. So yeah, I like Akshan as a design. But why on earth does he revive champions? Like, who thought that was a good idea? It's legitimately just game-breaking nonsense, man. And they put this into this game like, oh, like... like, he should not have that. And it's like, alright, Viego, right? So just to put into context how game-breaking Viego is, Viego's passive is a Zhonya's Hourglass that resets on kill. That gives him more health, new abilities, and, like, when you put it that way, it sounds insane, doesn't it? Like, every single person who plays an assassin or whatever understands how annoying and just powerful Zhonya's can be, but this guy gets it every time he kills someone. Kesante, he's a tank, but he poses the same threat to an enemy backline as like an assassin, except assassins get one shot like that. And it's like, just the whole idea with his ultimate, turning him into a bruiser, is just so insane. And of course they put in mechanics in there that, oh, he can't be CC'd, oh, his abilities come back off cooldown, the ones that he used when he ults, so he, like just... Like, God, if you actually just go back and just go through the champions they've made, I'm not saying all the champions they make are just terrible, but the rate at which they make game-breaking champions has just increased, you know? Like, back then we had, like, Kayn, and Kayn was a bit more bearable because... Okay, so with Kayn, the fact that he can walk through walls like that is just completely overpowered, right? With blue Kayn specifically. Red Kayn is a bit more manageable. But with the fact that Kayn can just walk through walls is absolutely broken. Like, no counterplay, completely just destroys the game. And if Kayn gets fed, you see this firsthand, where the idea of a positional mistake just goes out the window, right? Like, he can't make positional errors. You can't punish him for being caught out unless he's stupid and he just goes in for no reason every time. And this is more bearable because Kayn has to, like, he sucks early, so he has to, like, farm up to get there, right? But then it's like, it just keeps getting worse and worse. So we have Yuumi then, completely game-breaking, and it's like, it's just getting worse and worse and worse as the game goes on, right? Like, I don't know who they have making these mutant tier champions, but that person should just not be employed, in my opinion. It all just goes back to Certainly T, honestly. Dude, I hate Certainly T because he's the guy who made everyone make these kinds of champions. He made it like cool to do it. So now all the champions are going to be like that. So it just sucks, man. Champions right now, either they're just completely boring, terrible, and useless, right? Or they're so unbelievably game-breaking that essentially you have to make it so that they're unplayable. Otherwise, they're just the best champion in the game. Okay? And it's like, every time they make a new champion or they add new content, it isn't like some exciting thing that like, oh, what is this new champion? It's more so, oh, what tumor am I going to have to deal with next? You know? Like, what next? What else? So, yeah. And also, man, like, the experience of playing solo queue is low-key miserable, right? It's miserable. First off, matches take way too long to get into because of the dodges and everything, but, like, dodges, I'd say, are a symptom of another error, which is that... Alright, so, because League is a team game, you can't stop some random person from wasting your time, okay? So if you're someone who values your time, do not play League, because all it takes is one person to waste 20 minutes of effort you've put into this one game. And the best part is, if you talk back to them, you're the one getting punished, right? You get punished immediately, whereas that person, it's an if where they get punished. Imagine if, like, in real life, there was a guy who was running around punching people, and you told him to go F himself. Now, imagine that happening, and the police immediately arrest you for harassment, and you don't even know if they're going to arrest the guy who's just running around punching people. That's like how it is with League and solo queue, right? It's just asinine. You just have to sit there and take your time being wasted. You can't AFK, right? You can't alt-tab, because then you're the one grieving. And it's just insane. And I'm not just talking about people who play bad, or people who int, but they're not actually inting, and people just say that they're inting, but they're just playing bad. I'm talking about legitimate hardcore griefers. It's like the ADC gets 3-man dove like 5 times in a row, but both mid and top are crushing it so hard that we can just carry it. And that ADC will run it down, brain dead, and we're the ones in the wrong here for flaming him, right? We're the ones who get our chat restrictions. It's like unbelievable, man. Like, you just can't be a person who both values their time and a person who likes playing League, you know? When you go into like a 1v1 game, right? Let's say you go into a 1v1 fighting game or a chess game. If you mess up, it's your fault. But because it's a team game, there has to be, like, measures in place to make it so that, like, if something happens, you can just opt out of your time being wasted. And Dota has this, right? In Dota, they put things in the game, like, oh, if this happens, you can just quit the game. Overwatch, if someone doesn't connect, you can just quit the game. Like, all this stuff, right? And it's like, oh, if somebody is disconnected for 5 minutes, irregardless of when it is in the game, you can disconnect, play the next game, and this one won't count. League doesn't have that. If someone ruins your game, your time is wasted and it's counted as a loss. And, like, it just sucks, man. Whatever. Like, Riot just cares more about the idea that the game looks clean and non-toxic, rather than actually cleaning the game of, like, legitimate degenerates. And also, scripters, man. Like, okay, so let's just to put this into perspective. The only reason scripters became that big of a problem, and mind you, scripters weren't or aren't a big problem at all. I know that sounds crazy, but let me just put this into perspective. If you just sat back and told yourself, all right, what are the biggest problems with League? What would you go for? Smurfing or cheating? You want to go cheating, like smurfing, inting, griefing, someone going AFK, people just, you know, champ select hostaging, just the behaviors of the players, the balance, the new champions. And on that list, at what place would be scripters? Because I'm pretty sure that there's a decent chunk of you who've not even played with a scripter, or if you have, it's like once or twice a year. It's such a non-problem because League isn't like, it's not Counter-Strike, where if someone cheats, they completely just devour the game. League is such a game where unless someone is just blatantly cheating with just scripts, they still have to input their own sort of brain into playing and thinking through the game. And while I'm not saying that that makes it okay to cheat, what I am saying is that even if someone's scripting, you can overcome them. Because the thing about scripters is they're dumb. They don't think. So with any amount of macro knowledge, you can beat the cheater, you can beat the scripter. And most of the time, if you do beat the scripter, you're not even going to know that they're a scripter, right? So it's like, it's such a non-issue with the game, and Riot are making this torpedo anti-cheat adding it into all our systems like it's like the biggest issue ever. Like, Vanguard is such a travesty. It is such a war crime, man. Like, alright, so I don't want to say too much about this topic because, like, any person who knows anything about security just knows, like, the security threats. But just as advice, if you are a person, right, where you work at a company or you work in a place or your device has anything downloaded from an institution, whatever, science, anything, where your computer accesses anything useful, Vanguard is now putting your system and your privacy at risk. Because the thing is, right, we can't just be like, oh, China this, China that, but according to Chinese law, if they ask Riot to give them this piece of data, or they ask Riot to spy on this specific person because they work at Intel or something, or Nvidia, then Riot have to comply. They have to comply. And they also have to lie to everyone else that they didn't comply. So it's like, when they do that, oh, we got the same data that we did before, and if you don't trust us, that's on you. But it's like, so instead of just everything that's inside the game and the client, Vanguard can take entire screenshots of what's on your PC. It can monitor processes on your computer and just, like, turn them off on a whim. It's so incompatible with anyone who uses their computer to do anything except play League. If you go and watch, like, all the streams of all your favorite streamers, well, maybe not right now because it's been like a month or so, but before, everybody had like this. If you ever uninstalled Windows and reinstalled it, it's like this black screen and there's like 3 programs on the desktop. Everyone who needs the game to run uninstalled the entire computer, every single program, just to play League. So again, if you're someone who works for an important company, by keeping Vanguard on your computer, you're putting your company at risk. And I'm like, maybe it's not, like, maybe, you know, down with a corpse or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Also, I don't want to do this just yet. Who's this? She can help me? Alright, whatever, I don't care. But yeah, whatever. Let's just try to do this, I guess. What was I even saying? But yeah, you can't be a person who doesn't care about your company or whatever, but even so, right, your job might be at risk, right? So yeah, I have no idea how to get there. Whatever, let's just ride around. Okay, lid. Like, if you have anything important on your computer, just don't. Okay? We're all like, oh, why would I have a reason to be afraid? It's like, you don't even know, man. You don't even know. It's that kind of thinking that leads to just like, I don't want to sound crazy and like conspiracy theory-ish, because I do get that for a lot of the people who play League, who are just your teenagers and stuff, they truly don't have anything important on their computers. So I guess if you're like that guy, or if you're like a League streamer, you really don't have to care. But if you're like 30 years old, 35, you gotta stop, man. Right? Because at some point, it's not a when anymore, it's an if. It's not an if anymore, it's a when. Something will happen. And when it happens, you're gonna be the one caught in the bear trap. And you might as well get out while you have the chance. So, there we are, I guess. I don't know, man. It's like, them putting Vanguard in all these computers, it's just proof that they don't care, right? Because, mind you, when they launched Vanguard in, what is it, the Philippines, they had all these problems already. A lot of the issues that are being reported by us were already reported to them, but they just ignored it and just pushed through with it anyway. And for what? Because the thing is, right, once all the cheaters find a way around Vanguard, it's almost like it just didn't exist, right? And it's like, so you have this piece of anti-cheat on your computer that's permanently on. Not, you can't just compare it to easy anti-cheat. You can't make it like an argument that, oh, all anti-cheats are like that. You cannot make that argument, because all other anti-cheats are only online when you're playing their respective games. Okay? Not Vanguard. Vanguard is always on. And unless you specifically turn it off every time you open your computer, like a ritual, it's gonna stay on, right? And if you want to play League, now you gotta restart your whole PC. It's just... It's inconvenient, right? And the inconvenience will mostly just make you, like, just leave it on, right? Like, oh, what's the worst that can happen? And then, that's it, right? Like, it's such a huge security risk, and it's unbelievable that, like, it's legal. I can't believe that it's legal, if I'm being honest, right? But I feel like, because it's a video game company, like, governments don't really take it that seriously. It's like the main problem with, and I feel like maybe you don't want global political commentary from this channel, but the main problem with a lot of governments in this world is that they're way too old, right? A lot of, like, way too many government officials are like 60, 70, 80, and at that point, it's like, this guy was alive in, like, the 1950s. You think he's gonna understand what League of Legends anti-cheat does? It's like, it's not going to be taken seriously for like another 10, 15 years, right? But when it does, it's going to be a huge mess. And I'm going to be gleefully laughing, I guess. I don't know. Come on, bro. Let's execute him. Say yo. Maybe not gleefully laughing, but it'll be satisfying, you know? It's satisfying to know you're right, always, right? So, yeah. Also, man, the casual side of League is so dead. And it's like it's a gradual thing, right? And the biggest way you could actually see this happen is through the subreddit. The main League subreddit used to be like memes, people posting the videos they've made, all this sort of funny stuff, just entertainment, and now it's just all esports. Like, the main League subreddit is just esports. And I get it. If you like esports, right? If you genuinely consume League esports content, then you're loving it. But the main idea is, if the main subreddit of the game is esports, then there's no place there for everything outside of esports. And also, on the subreddit, Riot does a lot of just suppressive work. Also, I don't like how these mushrooms look, so I'm just gonna leave. Let's go here. Or we can go to the Ever jail. Whatever. But yeah, Riot actually controls what people say in the subreddit. So, like, if you, like, complain, because if you look at the first, not the second one, because in the second one, I don't think they've done it yet or whatever. But in the first thread about Vanguard, they've like essentially just removed every single comment that talks about the problems they have with Vanguard. Like, there are websites that show you, oh, deleted Reddit messages, and there's so many messages deleted there about Vanguard having blue screens, just bricking your PC, all this stuff. And like you see the mods and they're like, oh, the downvote the downvote bots have, you know, arrived in full force. And it's like, no, people just don't like this anti-cheat, bro. And like, so what I'm trying to make, well, the point I'm trying to make with that statement is Riot actively polices and controls the discourse around and about League of Legends. Like I don't want to sound too crazy, right? But they do. And they've sort of formed what League has become, where it's like just nobody is just playing for fun. Everyone is just sweating try hard. You can't just let go and enjoy the game casually with your friends or whatever, because everyone's just locked in, being the, like, it's just so serious. Everyone's taking the game so seriously. So the only people who are like just playing casually are like relegated to the other game modes. And guess what? Riot's been removing year after year. They removed Dominion, Twisted Treeline. They've removed Earth, actually. I know they added back seasonally, but it's all about removed, alright? Honestly, rotating game modes just is such a stupid idea. Because, like, let's say someone just wants to play Earth and nothing but Earth. So what? That person has to just wait around with this game until the thing that they like playing is available again. It's like, just let them play Earth. I like what they've done with Arena, I guess, because it's like actually playable now and it's been out for a while. But they're gonna rotate it back and then it's not gonna be playable anymore. So it's like, what's left? ARAM. If you're a casual League player, you gotta play ARAM. And it's like, just I don't know, man, because the platform of the game can be really fun, right? It can be the vehicle to a lot of fun, but they just keep removing the fun modes. Like, why make them? Whatever. Like, it's such a huge waste of money from them. But all it does is it makes it so that League is never something you approach to have fun. And every time you do, you just get something in the game that reminds you why, like, you shouldn't. Right? Someone's tryharding, someone's abusing an OP champion, someone's exploiting some OP combo, right? Because Arena, right? Arena is so fun. There are Arena tier list websites, Arena guide websites, on a for fun game mode. There are videos and etc. teaching people how to beat people in Arena. Isn't that just insane? Like, imagine if there was a guide on, how to beat the elderly in bingo night. It's like, what? It's just insane. But that's just the culture of this game, man. No one just has fun and just chills anymore. It's just try hard, try hard, try hard, try hard, try hard, try hard. And even tryharding's not fun. Because it's like playing chess and then somebody takes your queen, throws it out the window and replaces it with a pawn. And it's just randomly, man. Like, why sit down and master the game when all you're gonna get is just BS and Riot constantly changing things for no reason? Why do they keep changing jungle, man? Why do they keep changing jungle? I swear to God, I don't understand it. It's so insane. And they just make it more and more and more OP. And now it's just, like, if you're a solo laner, just go F yourself, right? Just go and... Oh, God, I'm not going to say that. Whatever, right? Just go, you know what, right? It's just, like, it's all about bot lane and jungle. And let me just summarize the fundamental issue with bot lane, right? Because, yes, bot lane it's been overpowered for a while, right? And every time a non-bot lane is powerful, they just mess the game up. So that bot lane is the main lane again. It's like we have 2-3 patches of, top lane is the strongest role now. Wee-hee. And then, everything's nerfed, messed up. Another rework, right? Another revamping of the game's mechanics. And then we're back to bot lane meta. Every single person has to play bot side. Every jungler has to play bot side. Or they just lose the game, right? And it's like, the main problem with bot lane is not ADC. It's support. Because support's been progressively getting more and more and more powerful for, like, years now. Ever since I started in season 6, and, like, I can tell you, ever since then, support's stronger and stronger. But, I mean, there's some people who've been around the game even longer who've probably all already quit because of Vanguard. But, but yeah, the people who've been around the game longer can tell you since when they've been getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And what that does is, because support is so powerful, it makes it so that if an ADC has any amount of independence, then it's beyond overpowered. ADCs cannot have any independence. They have to die to every single side laner, assassin. They have to lose every 1v1 because of support. Because you're intended to play with your support. And because support is so overpowered, if an ADC is fed, and they have their support with them, and their support isn't some glue-sniffing troglodyte, which, if you're a bad support, like, it's the easiest role in the game. Whatever, right? If their support just knows the basics of how to kite and how to peel, then that ADC won't lose that 2v1, right? And if your whole team protects you, then a Fed ADC will just 1v9 the whole game, right? Now, obviously, there are some... Oh, let's say the enemy Jax has 15 kills and it's been 20 minutes. Yeah, okay, that might be force majeure. But keep in mind that, like, when I play the game, right, and I'm not saying I'm some super high elo god at the moment. I'm just master, right? It's probably decayed though by now. But yeah, so in master, right? The only way a top laner or a mid laner carries the game is if the opposing top laner or mid laner is a glue sniffer. If the opposing top mid knows, like, just to peel back slightly, and there isn't a Grand Canyon gap, the better top slash mid is now just... They're ineffective. All you do if you're the better top mid, but you aren't that much better, is you farm. You farm and you hope to God your team can win team fights, right? And let's say this Jinx gets fed. Good luck. Good luck, man. It's like, God. It's so unbearable. Whatever. And the funny part is, it's way more likely to get support gap, right? Because support is such a low input sort of, like, it's such a low effort role that it basically allows for the highest sort of difference between people who play that role. Because some people are good supports and they win like every time, bro. And you know it. They're like in mid lane, they're ganking top lane, they're invading the enemy jungler. They've already won 2v2. It's like, you know when there is a support diff, right? When there's a top diff, it's like, even if top lane A is better than top laner B, if B is just good enough to not int, then top lane A won't carry that game. But if if support A is better than support B, the vast majority of the time, support A will 1v9 the game, right? There is no, if support B is good enough, they can stop support A from carrying. No, you can't stop them from carrying. It's not like they're not stuck with each other. And the same thing applies to jungle too, right? But, I mean, jungle, I don't mind jungle that much, because although the skill floor is really low, at least some of it takes skill, right? But, I mean, whatever, man. I'm just rambling for no reason at this point. Doesn't matter. Alright, well, there you have it then. I'm not gonna really talk anymore. Oh my god, what are these creatures? I'm just gonna stop recording and slaughter these guys. I'm willing to talk about this decision and other things in the comments, so if you have questions specifically about me, the channel, my thoughts, just ask the questions to me. But aside from that, this is the end of the road for your boy Roku. At least when it comes to League. Now, I will try to see if I can make videos of other games, right? Like, I definitely won't post videos at the same frequency, right? I just don't have the time for that. But I will definitely, if I play a game that I really like, I'll probably post a gameplay video on it, or I might just make the kind of videos I make on my alt channel just on my main channel. On my alt channel, I basically just make like normal YouTube videos, right? Like edited. It's got either some informational or some entertainment value. You get the drill, right? Something like that, but on the main channel. So yeah, goodbye. And this goodbye is for you, not League. League is too trash for me to even say goodbye to. I want to dignify it like that. Bye.